Lovely. Thank you, Jenny. So we're just going to share our screen.
Somebody's screen. No, that's somebody's
Oh,
screen.
Okay, can everybody see that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Right, so what we kind of thought we would do is first of all give you a bit of a story about kind of the background of Strawberry Fields, how it all started, what we've done over the last 18 years that we've been open, and then go into a bit more of sort of what's happened in the last sort of like 2 years really, where we've kind of had our like biggest growth. So Adam's just going to start off by just kind of giving you a bit of a background kind of history about us and what we've kind of done over the 18 years.
Yeah. So it really all stemmed from Mum starting pick your own strawberries on an acre of strawberries back in sort of 30 years ago now, really. So with the weigh and pay caravan, which you'll see in a minute. So obviously there's Mum and Dad, and Laura, myself, and now we've got Thomas and Lily, and I think we got a little farmer there in the making, and Thomas is farming mad. So yeah, and then no good. So yeah, we're a good team. We work well together. Dad's got his own agriculture engineering business. Mum's sort of very much involved, and with all her own recipes and all Mum's recipes that her mum put down to Mum, and then sort of that's what we're using, our saffron buns and our pasties. It's what Nanny used to do farm tea with years ago, like, you know, so that's where we are, just traditional sort of harvest tea, and that's what we've taken right through to the shop, like, really, and what we do today. And there we are, 1993, pick your own strawberries. And you know, it was the thing back in the 90s. It was the thing to be doing. Everybody was picking their own strawberries, making their own jam, coming and filling up buckets and taking home. And you know, it was a different time back then. I think now, obviously, as everybody's known, it's more of a family sort of attraction, possibly more to drive footfall within the shop now. Things have changed, but I think it's coming back again. So good. There's our that's how sort of it started. So we had the pick your own strawberries, and then Mum started growing a bit of veg, and I was always Mum's shadow, and we used to fill this fruit and veg barrow in the village of Lifton sort of up to 3-4 times a day, and we'd have up to 4 or 5 cars queued up outside, and they'd be all buying the fresh veg and putting their money in the honesty box, and that's where it all come from, really. And then 2001, we put in planning, foot and mouth year. Lucky enough, the planners felt sorry for the farmers, and we managed to get planning granted for this shop, as you see in the picture there, 2001, on a greenfield site, and we've sort of expanded from there on. In 2006, we put on 2 wings, so one was a restaurant, and then the other side was more for fresh produce. So basically grew the restaurant and grew the shop. 2009, which we put the next bit on there, that was for wedding functions, and to grow the restaurant further with a nice lawn area where we sort of built it for weddings, didn't we, Laura? Yeah.
And like just general demand really for the restaurant. We were turning people away 7 days a week, so we just needed more covers, didn't we, really?
Yeah. So that's our last extension, which was Easter last year, and yeah, really glad of that, especially through all of the recent circumstances and everything. We just wouldn't have been able to do what we've managed to do without this building, like, really. It's been fantastic, isn't it? With the restaurant closed.
We'll come on to a bit more about what's inside, but we'd completely outgrown our space in the old shop, as we call it. It was just a logistical nightmare, really, wasn't it? trying to fit in like all the production that we do, and stock and displaying things right. It was all, you know, we just didn't have enough space. And also for customers as well, they like a bit of space around them to be able to shop well, and it just, the whole shopping experience was going downhill because of this space that we had. But we thought we had lots of space when we built this, but it somehow filled up. We're still having to put a marquee up for Christmas trees and things like that. So yeah, you never know, another extension may be on the way.
So I think, yeah, so when we built the shop, we didn't really realise what we were in for, I don't think. So the last extension was like the biggest growth, and where the sort of the whole staff structure had to sort of change. And I don't really think we realised, did we, that at the time? No. But I didn't look through it. We'll start back at the farm anyway. So I think I'm jumping on a little bit from Laura's PowerPoint here, I think. So basically the farm, yeah, 500 acres devoted to the shop, 150 acres of woodland, which is Woollerden on the opposite side of the road, where we do holiday lets, and I'll show you that in a minute. We got 12 acres of vegetables and 2 acres of tunnels, yeah, 4 acres of orchard, 12 acres of free range eggs. So we find that the way that we've grown is to do as much as we can ourselves, and I think that's really working, and it's getting stronger as time goes on. And the more you can prove to the customer and make them believe in you and show them what you've got in the fields, and you know, we grow all the different brassicas, and we grow all our own curly kale and our own Cabernet Nero, all them fantastic, lovely fresh veg that's coming in now. I just, you know, when they see the buggy back at the front of the shop to unload, and he's just come back from the field, you know, mud all over, like, that is when people really believe in you. Like, and when you run out of asparagus and you can go out to the field and cut them another bunch, you know, I think that's what real farm shops should be, really. And I think that's what we've got to stick to, is doing it. Like, yeah,
that's like our roots, isn't it? Everything that we do, we ask our question, right, is that, you know, can we do that ourselves? Can we make that ourselves? And how can we be different, really?
Yeah. So yeah, we've got a Ruby Devon cattle. So we've got a herd of about 70 Ruby Devon cows. And we also buy from local farmers as well. And everything's hung for 28 days. So
if I just go on now to restaurant, so the restaurant, we had a new extension to the coffee shop for 2019. So we added another 58 covers, sorry. We added another 58 covers to the coffee shop. It was originally our bakery. And we've definitely used that as like a better experience, really, for the customer. We have a lot of customers that come shopping and then want to come and just have a cup of coffee, whereas our restaurant was too busy for that. It was too bustly, it was perhaps too noisy for some customers. So with that added extra of the coffee shop, we've really seen like an increase in sales. And it's really worked, that has. And that coffee shop is just in the middle of our restaurant and our shop, which obviously works quite well as well. So we offer food from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, 7 days a week. We've got a very high level of service in there. It's all waitress service. So it's quite staff heavy. You know, our wage percentage in there perhaps might be a bit more than perhaps what some people might think, but we are providing a very good service in there, aren't we?
Yeah.
And we have a lot of repeat customers in there, which is good. Very traditional food offering, a lot of homemade stuff, like our homemade steak pie here with our own veg and things. So again, it's just keeping even the menu in a restaurant to our roots as well, and using everything that comes from the fields and bringing that in and trying to, you know, make as much seasonal things as possible, really. So now we've gone to retailing. So as Adam said, niche is the key. We want to be completely different with our products. Nobody else can sell our products that we make, and we know that's what our customers travel for, is our products. So I mean, fruit and veg, Adam's covered, the butchery selling their own meat, anything that we can put a story behind, really, it is really good. Eggs is a huge draw for us. The bakery, that's had the biggest growth in the last 5 years out of all our departments. We've developed a ready meals, so doing steak pies, cottage pies, lasagnas, jams, chutneys. So we've got an upfront preserve room where customers can look in and see the team making the jams and chutneys. And again, that's brilliant. Even that interaction between the jam maker and the customer is really great. They ask what you doing, what you making, and like the smell coming into the shop as well. It's seeing is believing, definitely, isn't it? Ice cream, we've just developed our ice cream a bit more. We've made ice cream for how many years? 10 years.
Yeah.
But we've just developed that a bit more now, just to make a bit more of that. And other items, we do apple juice and cakes and, you know, lots of different things, but all that we make, don't we? So that's just a picture of our bakery, so our new bakery in the shop extension. That the bakery's been very customer led, in that we've listened to customers, found out what they wanted us to make. We've had some amazing team members in there that have really listened to customers and, you know, had them in the next day to try a recipe that they've made. And then we've sort of just grown from there, really, with the bakery, haven't we? We're very much fresh, so we bake from scratch 7 days a week without fail. Pasties is obviously a huge thing for us down this part of the world. So, you know, that is one of in our top 10 products, definitely. And we make all those on site and all up front here, so people can really look over and see them being made in there. And again, like, seeing is believing, really.
And now we got our so the bakery is we run 100% on renewable energy. So we've got 500 kilowatt of solar panels and a 500 kilowatt wind turbine that sort of power the bakery. And it's such a, you know, fantastic thing to say, because there's not many bakeries in the country that can say they're 100% self-sufficient on their energy, like, you know. So that's something we're really trying to get over now and using, isn't it, Laura?
Yeah, I think we've perhaps not taken it for granted, but we haven't shouted enough about that story yet. We've got a lot more. We're learning to shout more about the stories behind different products. You know, and that's in the art of marketing, I suppose, isn't it? Like, getting that out there. But, you know, it's all a learning curve that we're kind of learning on our way.
Well, wind turbines were a little bit controversial back in their day, so we didn't shout about it too loud. But now, obviously, I think people are beginning to accept them, really. So, yeah, that's it.
So I just said about pasties. Pasties are absolutely huge. It's like the pork pies up in Yorkshire, isn't it, Michael? So yeah, pasties, are probably is our top selling product. A pasty is. So yeah, we make thousands. We sell them frozen and fresh as well, and in the restaurant. So yeah, it's one of our good products there. So we, as Adam said, with the new extension, I think we thought really it was going to be easy. We were just going to put on an extension and move the bakery and butchery over. But with the extra square footage that we've got, we've grown bigger. And with that becomes more problems. But not problems that you can't overcome by putting in better systems, really. And that's what Michael's really kind of helped us to do, is to look at our existing systems, look at what we need to improve to make kind of the general day-to-day running easier. And it is hard, you know, everybody on this Zoom meeting knows it isn't easy, but we've done a lot over the last couple of years to make us better and to improve performance in our areas. I don't know if Michael, if you want to perhaps go through a
think
few
it's
of those
probably-
things there.
I think it's probably been one of the hardest growth stages we've had, is to bring in sort of another tier and, you know, bring in an accountant and bring in somebody on HR and sort of, you know, from hopefully now we're set up to sort of go again, really. You know, that's sort of our plan.
And it also keeps changing, Adam, doesn't it? I mean, where we started a couple of years ago to where we are now, it's still evolving. It's never completed, really, is it, as we know?
No.
You talked about marketing. You've just invested in a digital marketeer, haven't you, Laura, last week, was it?
Yeah, last
The
week.
business.
I think we've very much been super hands-on in the business, you know, like rotoring ourselves in. I was in the restaurant rotored in, Adam was in carving on a Sunday, and we still do all that now, but I think we've kind of learned that by getting bigger, we're not going to go further unless we just take a step back and try and get that structure under us that can help us do that, like day-to-day running, really. So yeah, it's been interesting, isn't it, Michael? But we are getting there. We are.
I think you've had two really big ones in that. Is you've got a fantastic accountant, haven't you, who's been with you a year, and HR as well. And I think it's invaluable in this growth for you, because you actually got proper information to make proper decisions, and you've had a lot of backup through COVID as well with the HR person, which has been quite important.
It's funny because you ask yourself, do you need a HR person, or can you afford a HR person, or can we afford an accountant? But and you do worry, because it's bringing in these new roles that you haven't paid a wage for before. But actually, when you look back, we can't afford to be without those people now.
No. But we never had an exec chef. We never had a retail manager.
No.
We've never had a F&B manager. You know. But now it really starts to show the benefits of all of that, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You can't do it without these people. You know.
No. And we had a big restructure of team. We've brought in more management, whereas before we were kind of overseeing with a few key people, like the whole place, but we've split it down now into like shop and restaurant, and even though we've done that, we have seen wage percentages still decrease year on year, haven't we? You know, so that's like pleasing to see. Like management routines, we were awful at having meetings, weekly meetings. It was all a bit hit and miss, but you know, not saying that we're in meetings all the time, because we're really not now, but we do have a Monday morning meeting, and you know, it's same time every week, a good hour or so, and you know, we thrash out some really good ideas and some good findings from the week before, really.
Whereas
don't
we never used to have, did we?
No, and we've got a really good set of reports that we take to those meetings now, which Leslie, our accountant, helps us. She sorts all of that, and we can actually make decisions based on fact rather than what we think happened last week, which has been invaluable.
Like Michael sort of led us into EPOS Bureau and sort of said about it's coming, but like we didn't have any of that before, did we? We didn't have the information on hand, did we, Michael? You almost come down and had a look, you thought, well, how do you know what's going on here, didn't you?
Well, it was, I mean, you had the fantastic story and you had everything behind you, as you can see, and everything you were doing, and you've just polished it a little bit, haven't you, really? I mean, you know, that's that, you know, in terms of your reporting structures and everything else, and the offer and products as well. We've done quite a lot of work on the offer and customer offer, and getting basket spends up and margin increases. And, you know, I don't think the management team really like you now, because you know what wastage every week and what markdowns are every week and all the rest of it. So I think you put them on the spot a bit more now.
Yeah,
definitely.
So we introduced like deputy. I know many of you are using deputy, but you know, we went from an A3 piece of paper that used to get printed out every week to deputy. So that's been invaluable at getting wage figures right. And we're now looking on to setting like departmental budgets and targets. And I think we're at the stage now where we, you know, really can start looking at that. But it's only because we've got those systems behind us. And Res Diary for restaurant bookings was a must. Everybody was phoning, which was an absolute nightmare. So new EPOS. obviously, as many of you know, it's a huge investment. And, you know, when we had the quote through, we thought, oh my goodness, you know, how can that bring the benefits back, really? But we kind of went with Michael, and we thought, right, you know, we need to make this work. You can't afford not to make it work with the investment that you've put into that. So we've got to grips with booking in. We had our first stock take a couple of weeks back, and that went really well. Wastage and transfers, it's really exciting to hear the team say, but I can't transfer that because it's not on the system. You know, they're getting quite into that, which is good. Definitely things that we need to look at, which we haven't really sort of made the most of or used the potential that's there, is the loyalty scheme, invoice matching, purchase orders, making sure that we are ordering smartly, and definitely using the system more to help us do that, really, don't we? We need to get better at that. And also, like, a lot of the back of house stock, so none of our packaging or any of that's on yet, but again, I think that would help with our ordering. You know, just only keep what we need there, rather than finding 10 boxes of the same pot out the back, and, you know, just refining it, really, like Michael said, polishing it off and making us work smarter, really, isn't it?
Yeah, but
I think one big
carry on, Michael.
one thing you said to me, Adam, as well once, and I think it's true, is you should be signing off all these paperwork to pay people, weren't you, in the office, and you weren't really sure whether you should be paying them or not. You just thought you should because that were in front of you. So now you've actually got, you know, it's been booked in by who, how much the total should be, the cost prices. So you feel a bit better about that now, don't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah. I don't think we would have took the big step, probably, Michael, if it wasn't for you, really, because obviously we didn't, you know, it was a lot of money at the time. I don't know what it was, 70 or 80,000 for the system. And it was like, you know, because we had an EPOS system before, but you didn't really know the system, and we didn't really, it wasn't but so Laura was like, well, we got it already to start with, and you took a bit of convincing to start with, didn't you? But we always knew we had Michael that was going to be at home, and you were going to be sort of logging on, weren't you, and looking at it and kicking us up the bums to make us do it, like, really, because it's no good spending that money if you're not going to do the booking in, stock take, wastage, transfers, is it? So I think that's where you come into it, Michael, really.
I think the main reason as well was we had like quite a lot of old data on the old system, didn't we, which wasn't put in, should I say, in the best fashion. No. So a lot of VAT rates wrong, and products wrong, and barcodes wrong, and things in wrong departments. And I think we looked at it as we can either revamp what we've got, put a lot of time into that, or look at something new. And when you're talking about these investments, I think you're seeing the benefit now in margin, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
That actually pays for the investment.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of money, I agree with you, to do, but it's, you know, it doesn't suit everybody.
No.
So we thought we just ought to really mention coronavirus and how we've adapted, as I'm sure everybody else has. We were kind of forced, weren't we, to make a change in the direction of the business. But I'm sure, like you, we had plans for the year. We were, we had lots of things that we were going to do, which all kind of went to the back of our minds, really, because we needed to just make sure that people kept coming in the door or used our online shop, and, you know, we kept sales coming in. So we did a click and collect and delivery service, and we got that up and running like within a week of the outbreak, which was, we couldn't control. It was, people were emailing their orders, and it just got out of control, really. Hence why we then built a Shopify site to manage the orders coming through. But again, that all comes with its problem. It was like starting a new business, wasn't it, to start with? It was a whole new system. Team didn't know what they were doing. It was, it took us a couple of weeks to like get going with it. But that definitely was a bit of a lifesaver for us, wasn't it?
Well, the phone was ringing, wasn't it? And people were ringing up for orders and adding to orders. And it was like, we rang Michael and said, what we're going to do. And Michael, he just worked wonders for us, and we put it together, didn't we? And there was some late nights taking lots of photos, and I think we had 600 products listed online within, I don't know, a week, wasn't it, Michael?
I was there getting emails through saying, can you put this on? Can you put that on? Ping, ping, ping. But it worked, didn't it? We got there.
Yeah, and we've just sort of, well, Michael's sort of done all the back of house of that, and we've fudged a few delivery things, haven't we, Michael? And we've worked out locations and stuff like that. So yeah, we've managed to keep, you know, sales coming in quite well with that. It's definitely dramatically dropped now. But, you know, obviously the shop sales are, you know, our customer numbers are going up through that. So it's what we would kind of expect.
Yeah. People are starting to venture out now, aren't they? I don't know what everybody else is finding, but we're finding now that people are out and about again. Are. Yeah.
And I don't know how many people have opened the restaurant. We opened the restaurant on Saturday, just gone. So we stripped it out. We've got about half the covers that we currently had in there. And we're currently doing about half the revenue, aren't we, of what we would do on a normal day, which, you know, it's okay. We've had a really busy day in there today. So whether people are getting braver as they, you know, come out. So yeah, we just got to take it as it comes, really, haven't we? So see what happens.
I think what you do with the restaurant as well, putting the one-ways in and the delivery areas, then the tables, and you've got the space there, Laura, haven't you, actually? That's one of the beauties of your site. You know, you convert the cafe doing to meals as well.
Pardon, Michael?
Cafe doing meals as well now.
The coffee shop. Yeah, so we kind of made the coffee shop, utilised that space, and we've utilised that space and put tables and chairs in there. So we're doing meals in there as well. So once people are sat down, they stay there, which has worked, actually. We don't really want people coming in and having a cup of coffee. I know that sounds awful, but we'd rather they come in and spend, you know, like £15 a head than sit there for a few hours and have a coffee. But, you know, I suppose everywhere's like that. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. It has got busier though as the week's gone on. So, and the team are fairly happy with how it's all working in there. So just got to see what happens really with that.
I think what's been a good thing, Laura, as well, I know you said about loyalty earlier, but you've managed to encourage people to sign up to the loyalty card. So you've got a track and trace happening, but you've also captured the details if they want to. I know there's other people who just leaving a number, but you're actually building up a significant database, aren't you, people now? Yeah,
definitely. We that has worked quite well, actually. So giving people a loyalty form when they come in, and then giving them their card on the next visit, and they're just flashing their cards at us now, which is really great. So that's working really well, and it's building our loyalty base, which is great. It's what we kind of need. It's a fairly new loyalty, so we want to kind of build it up as much as we can. That's a bit of an opportunity, a bit of work that we've turned into opportunity, really. Go that one, Adam.
Yeah. So now sunflowers are that's a good every. Oh yeah, don't be boring. Yeah, always do something different if we can. Just anything to create interest, really. We always do our themed events, like Egg Fest has been really successful. Pumpkin Fest is obviously good. Like Boyle characters, making characters, sort of the children's cartoons, that sort of thing, or anything like that, really. Pick your own sunflowers, just something, obviously, it brings people out, they have a meal, lovely thing for Instagram, Facebook, photos. Before you know it, everybody's shared Strawberry Fields, and, with the social media, and it works well, doesn't it, really? It's not for what you sell the sunflowers for, it's the whole pull of a few sunflowers, half an acre in the corner of a field somewhere, just a bit of interest where they can come and have a bit of a photo opportunity, really.
Yeah, it drives footfall really well, something like that. And we tend to do that. Well, they're due again in September, aren't they, this year?
Try to put them in later. Well, last year it wasn't for the planning of putting them in later. It's just that the pigeons ate them all the first time. And they would have normally come like July, probably August, and the pigeons ate them the first time. So I put them in again, and they come September just as the holidays were finishing. and it just kept footfall up really. Just sunflowers through September, it just worked really well. Like,
yeah,
so
done that again this
we've done
year
it
now,
again
haven't
this
we?
year now. Yeah.
And just things like for the team. So we do a lot of like team competitions. But I'm sure you all do like team newsletters and things like that. Just anything to make it interesting for them, really. We do make sure we communicate with our team quite a lot. We do like, we've got a Facebook page and we're always putting like farm things on that. Anything that we sort of take for granted that they should know, they don't know, do they, unless you actually tell them. And probably our biggest sort of marketing thing for us is we do our county shows. So Royal Cornwall show is our biggest one of that. So we go and make a display of whatever it might be. We kind of create a theme based on usually a story. So this is obviously Noah's Ark we did one year. So we take our good team, don't we? Take 8, 10 of us maybe, give out leaflets, tell them, find new customers really. And then it is surprising how many of those come back to the shop. We give out vouchers, don't we, like little pound vouchers.
£2 vouchers are a really good thing. Like, you can measure what you get back, and it's a way of measuring things, because anything that you can measure is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you write on the back Royal Cornwall show, and you know how many you've had from Royal Cornwall show, is keep them to one side. It's just to know what show works for us, really. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it costs us thousands to put it on, doesn't it? We start with a blank canvas. We turn up in the marquee and we've got like a 40-foot circular display, and you think, right, kind of here we go. But it's always, when you're doing it, you think, is this worth it? But when those customers start coming back to the shop and, you ask them where they heard of us, and they say, oh, Royal Cornwall show, it's like, oh, yeah, we absolutely need to carry on doing this. So that was
Sean. Walls made out of potatoes, Laura. What the walls were made of? Yeah.
Yeah. So this was all made out of potatoes. This house. So every potato had a screw. So we screwed in and then left the screw out, 1.5 inches, and then we banged a potato on to make that. Yeah, that was love labour, that one. And then we did Peter Rabbit one year as well. Again, potatoes on the garden wall. I mean, it's quite hard to show you kind of all the content of this because it's a big circular display, but it, just give you an idea.
Signs. Yeah.
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 But
so this is Williden. So this came up for sale opposite us sort of 3 years ago, just over 3 years, 3.5 years ago now. We missed it as a family 14 years ago. Never really thought it would come again. We weren't in a position 14 years ago, but sort of 3.5 years ago, it come up on the market, and it was always a dream. And it was like, well, it always, it'd be, if it ever come up for sale, it was something that we would have liked. And as a family, we were all on board for it. And rung up the bank manager thinking, well, he's going to laugh at us really. And he was on board with us, and we took the big step and we bought it. It's 450 acres, 120 acres of woodland, 70 acres of farmland. Yeah. So and it's right opposite the shop, so we can do so much with it. And since we've had it, we've done egg fest and Easter egg hunting down in the woods, and pumpkin festival. We do tractor and trailer rides and all that sort of thing. And obviously with the holiday complex as well, it's lovely to advertise that to all the holiday makers that are coming in and out of Cornwall. And yeah, we've got lots to do down there yet. We're in the middle of doing weddings and selling weddings down there. It sleeps 30.
I have one book today.
we've had a wedding book today. We did a couple last year, but it's something we want to push now going forward. So yeah, lots to get on with really.
Yeah, it's exciting. It works really well with the shop, doesn't it? Because it's literally the opposite side of the road. So it sort of completes that little block there really, which is good.
That's the Williden Lake there. Yeah. So just that's part of Williden really, just part of it. Yeah.
So so our kind of philosophy, you've got to be passionate about what you're doing. And and we do love what we do. You know, as like everybody, the odd day that's, you know, odd day goes bad, but generally we do love what we're doing, and going that extra mile for that customer, whether it be going out the back to pot up some ingredient for them, or, you know, going out, like Adam said, to cut them that bunch of asparagus when we've perhaps run out in the shop. It's that just goes such a long way. So have faith in the produce sold. So we obviously want to be very, very confident with everything we sell in the shop. If we aren't happy with something, or and we very much let the team know that, don't we? Everything that goes out must be 110%. It must be fresh, and it must be like absolutely top quality. But keeping it niche to us, as we said before, is really, really key. Freshness is key, as we said. So like the veg, every single day that comes in fresh, doesn't it? It's lovely now the restaurant's open because we can chuck all that veg that from the day before into the restaurant, which, you know, I think we took for granted before the restaurant was closed. It was, you know, our wastage went up considerably. But yeah, so we're very much glad that's open now, aren't we? Be happy, make someone smile. I mean, that the experience of that customer is key for us. Don't wait for customers to find you, go out there. So we, again, like going to those shows, farmers markets, all of that sort of thing. We can't get complacent because, you know, we don't know what's around the corner. And I think this year sort of showed us that, you know, what can be around the corner, really, haven't we?
Yeah, so we're really excited this year. So we won the Farm Shop and Deli Awards, which is fantastic for us, and you know, brilliant to shout about that now. Perhaps not quite the year this year, perhaps, to shout about it, but it is good, and we will shout about it. And we've got lots we want to do online, and we will be shouting about it going forward. And obviously, yeah, farm retail, that was amazing, because that's something we've always really wanted and worked hard for. And before, perhaps we weren't, you know, to that stage of large farm shop. But obviously putting the new extension on everything, polishing a few things off with Michael's help, and yeah, made us ready for it, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
good.
No, it's really, really good.
Yeah, brilliant.
Good.
So yes, there's
Michael, I don't know if there's anything you want to add.
Not really. No, I guess it's any questions from anybody. You know, it's been quite a journey for you, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. That was brilliant. So I'm just going to stop your screen sharing, if that's okay, so we can see everyone on the big screen, and keep an eye out for any people waving, if that's all right. So has anybody got any questions? If you have, then just give us a wave and unmute yourself, if that's okay. Becky Kendall. Oh, we can't hear you. Let me just... There you are.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I was just pushing the gallery view. That's what I was.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't have a question, guys. Sorry.
I didn't. I really enjoyed the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've put you on the spot there for pressing the wrong button. Christopher O'Connor, were you waving? Do you want to press unmute?
Yeah. Hi, guys. Yeah, well done for the presentation. It was really good. Lots of ideas. What I wanted to ask is, how do you show and convince your customers that it's your own produce? What sort of things are you doing to make people aware that it's your own stuff and you're growing and making your own?
This right in front of them, really, making, you know, pasties 50 on a table where they can see them, and looking in over, isn't it? The customers can see them through the bakery, having everything on show, really, isn't it?
Yeah. The only thing that we haven't got on show that we make at the moment, got plans to bring it on show, is our ice cream. But we've got plans to move that, actually, haven't we?
Yeah.
So the jam, for example, is completely up front in the shop. The bakery, they can see right in and see all the bread, the pasties and everything being made. And as Adam said, like the buggy, the reversing back to the shop entrance and things like that, it just
And I mean, the best thing to advertise the farm is social media, really, you know, taking it out to them and, you know, taking a picture and posting it on social media, you know, when the
Do all your
parents are
social
coming out
media
the ground.
yourselves?
You do, yeah. Well, we've just
Well.
got somebody giving us a hand with it at the moment, a little bit.
Yeah,
but
we
we're the ones that sort of put the content
Yeah,
into
we are.
WhatsApp. Yeah.
And that's only just last week actually. So we've been doing the posts and everything ourselves, but we've just taken on a lady that's going to do some work with us and work very closely with us. So we kind of provide all the content that she'll actually, you know, fluff it up and put it on, and just help us a bit with that, really.
It's
because
something we've always struggled with before, is to let any of the social media stuff out of our control, because we never feel it gets done like in the same way, and people don't put the passion across like we put across ourselves. Like, you know, if I've been grown something and I've seen it grow in the field, I want to show it off to the best I can possibly do that, like, or whatever it might be, whether it be a field of pumpkins or whatever it is. Somehow you put it across stronger, I think, than what anybody else.
I think what's changed as well is because this online thing that you've been doing, that you Google analytics and keywords have become more important. You've seen the growth of that, haven't you, really? I think what you need is somebody to make sure that you get the content, but also that you can, you know, people get to see it. Because if
it's been working though. The last week or 10 days, we've had Hayley in on marketing, and we've been putting all of our photos and bullet points into WhatsApp, and it saves you having to spend quite so much time. And you know, she's got the content there, the photos, and she's posting it at the right times, like, you know. So
because we tend to get home, and then Adam will say to me, "Have you done Facebook today?" And I was like, "No, I haven't done it. Have you not done it?" And then, right, what are we going to put on? Right, let's do something a minute. And you forget, don't you? Because you get so caught up in the day-to-day
now,
running.
you know, we'll have a plan going forward, and I think we'll be making a plan on when we're going to post things. And I think that's something we can improve on, really.
Michael, you've just in case anybody hasn't properly met you yet, do you want to give a really brief bit of information as to what you're up to and where you've worked previously and what your background is?
Yeah, thanks, Jenny. Yeah, I mean, I met Adam and Laura probably 2 years ago, but previous to that, I was the operations retail manager for Keelan Farm Shop. Worked there for 4 years through a big growth period. So we took the turnover from about 8 million to 22 million in a short space of time. And prior to that, I set up Welbeck Farm Shop with the guys at Welbeck. So I've had a very operational-led history, if you like, very food-led. You know, and I met Laura and Adam actually through Keelan, didn't I, guys? You actually came to talk one day and said, "Oh, you know, the retailer looks pretty good here, and that. Do you mind if I have a look round?" And we sort of stayed in contact, didn't we, after that? So I based it off not just consultancy. I like to call it a partnership that I do with people. So it's very much a partnership between myself and who I work with. You know, with the guys out, Laura, instead of just doing a project base or document where you leave a 30-page document for people to walk away, we sort of work together on a daily basis to help run the business, and just an extra pair of eyes, really. There's a lot of decisions to make every day, and I think we've just been a sounding board, haven't we, Laura and Adam? I think really off each other.
Yeah, we have. I mean, Michael, you've been brilliant. You're always kind of. We said to you the other day, didn't we? You said, "Oh, you must get fed up of hearing all our problems." But what did you say? You said, "Oh, it's all right. Your problems are my problems," didn't you say? But yeah, that is definitely how you work, Michael. And yeah, you've been brilliant. You have been invaluable in helping us get where we are today, definitely.
Thanks, guys.
I'll pay you later, Laura.
Yeah.
Any more questions for Laura and Adam or Michael? Judy, do you want to press unmute?
Hi there. A really interesting discussion. Thank you so much for telling us all about your amazing farm shop, both of you. I wondered if you were both coming from the farming family, or whether it was just you, Adam. It's your folks who started it.
Yeah, well, I always lived and breathed it, and was always out with Mum, you know, from a very young age. And I picking strawberries for Stokes's shops. We used to do Stokes's greengrocers, and we used to supply them with strawberries. And mum and dad would be always away baling and wrapping, contracting, doing bales and silage for people. And I would get the boys off of the school bus and bring them back and get the orders picked for the next morning's deliveries when mum and dad were out doing the baling and wrapping contracting. And I was up before school, you know, picking strawberries, and I've just always lived and breathed it, and I've enjoyed it right the way through. So, and Laura, obviously,
yeah.
always...
So I started working at the shop when I was 15.
Yeah.
Oh, it's sort of a Saturday job thing at that point.
Yeah,
then.
yeah, it was. And then so I live locally. Well, I originate from locally, and from a farming family. And I then I went off to university, and I taught primary school for 3 years. But was kind of doing more at the shop and organising the weddings and working in the restaurant on the weekends. And I kind of got to the point where I needed to, had to give. So then I came back to the shop full time. So I gave up teaching and came back to the shop full time. But yeah, very much a farming background as well with me. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, you could tell when you were talking about earlier about how it's so important to be passionate. If you're going to make a success of your own business, you really need to have that drive yourselves, don't you? Because nobody else is going to give you that drive. You've really got to want to do it, especially at times like this. So well done, the two of you. It's brilliant. Yeah, very impressive.
I think something else that's been quite interesting as well in your journey is you've obviously got mum who's been heavily involved in the business, and then the next generation's coming in. So I think we've been done quite a lot of work of succession planning and allowing people to feel still part of it, but letting them from more of a distance over time, you know, and allowing that to happen, which in a family business is quite difficult to achieve, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, no, it can be. Yeah. Yeah.
It's Copley with your new haircut. Were you waving earlier?
Oh.
You was an unmute.
I was. The shop looks absolutely fantastic. Got some serious shop envy, you guys. So we'll have to come down. Plan to come down next week. Anyway, but so we're not. We're going to delay it a few weeks. We're
yeah. Let us know when you're coming.
Yeah, we'd love to show you around.
No, you're not. But what I'm intrigued to know, your bakers, now we've got a bakery which is partially visible, and we're about moving it more visible into the farm shop element potentially. What hours do you get yours to work? Do they actually work throughout the day, so they're there till late, or have you got some people on baking till later in the day, or are they all sort of finished by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock? So that's always something that I worry about, is having a bit of dead space.
Yeah, so we so our bakery is almost split into like 2 sections then, really. So we've got a big deck oven right in the middle that's fed from both sides. So we've got the bread side, as we call it, and then the pasty side. So the bread team, I mean, it is a little bit different at the moment because social distancing, we've split the shifts, and we've got half the team coming in the evenings and doing like a early evening into the night shift, and then the other one comes in like early morning. But generally how it works is we have the bakers, they start at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, and then they'll work through till, some of them might go at 10, 11, but we have still got team there. Some of them will carry on to about 2, and then we have got a few later ones that come in and then carry that throughout the day. But by about 3, 4 o'clock, our bakery is empty apart from the servers. But I know what you mean, like with a dead space. It's
still 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
Visible. It's like they take the orange juice machine off at 4 o'clock. It does my head in.
Yeah. Why? Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
But yeah, I mean, it works really. I mean, we do that 7 days a week. And like we always said, if we could bottle that fresh bread smell and sort of let some out in the afternoon, that would be great. But obviously, you know, you can't do that. We have the cake maker that does like a normal day, sort of a 9 to 5 day. So there is always something going on in there, but not the full theatre as you would see at perhaps 9-10
Morning.
o'clock. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you can actually buy those bread smells.
Oh, can you?
Yeah, I'm just racking my brains where I've seen it. If I remember, I'll email you with who it is. I've seen it. No, I have. I've seen it somewhere. I have.
Some bread smells.
Hi.
I'll back Heather up on that. I've seen it as well.
Oh, okay.
See?
Any other questions? Tom Nelson?
Thanks for the presentation. I think you mentioned that your eggs are quite a big pool. How easy is it to keep chickens? How many do you have? Is it profitable, or is it more of a marketing initiative?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, ours are what I'd call, they're proper free range. They would range, well. We got apple trees, and we put alpacas in with them to make them range better, and we just market them as they're our own. They're brought down fresh every morning. We've got a really good following for them. I've got 6,000 free range laying hens, and we would be marketing probably most of them, 2/3 of them really, and then I do a bit to a packer as well, really. But I can see there's a lot more growth there, really. I think it's and it's another thing that drives footfall into the shop, and they don't just buy a dozen eggs. We got people that drive from Plymouth for our eggs, 25-30 miles for our eggs, and they buy other things, So I think it's good, isn't it? Really, and that's what we found. And we use everything through the bakery. It's all our own eggs, and it's good, definitely.
And is it fairly easy to run? Is keeping chickens a fairly easy thing? Is there lots of legislation around it?
There is, yeah. We're all Lion registered and Freedom Foods and DEFRA and everything, and do everything properly and correctly, and
You've got to.
Yeah, that's it. But no, it's not. Nothing's easy, is it? No, it's all got its problems, and I mean, it's good though. But just got to manage it. I think like everything else, really. But you're far better selling eggs yourself at £3 a dozen than to a packer at maybe 80p a dozen. So I think probably if you were producing them just for wholesale, it wouldn't really stack. It's okay. It's just like, but not like selling them yourself, as well as driving footfall into the shop for them to buy other produce.
Thanks.
Got time for one more question before Rob needs to go open another bottle of wine, if anybody has any of the last questions. Hi, the Kendalls. You're on mute.
There we are, sorry about that.
That's okay.
Simon Kendall. I was going to ask Adam and Laura if their Pick Your Own is open, and if so, how they're finding it with the coronavirus issues.
Yeah, Pick Your Own. Pick Your Own's been good, actually.
Really good.
The weather's not really been with us, but the strawberries have held quite well because we've not had that hot weather, and we've had a few different varieties, and because the hot weather's, we haven't had that, that sort of real heat, they've lasted. So I think this weekend will be our last weekend. But we've had a good sort of 6 weeks of Pick Your Own through main crop, which is really good, through 3 different varieties. And again, it's not just the strawberries, it's the footfall again. So obviously, we only grow probably 3 acres of Pick Your Own, but it's the footfall it drives, really.
The first weekend we opened for Pick Your Own, it went absolutely mental. They picked us out.
Yeah.
Didn't they? It was
But it's difficult to know when to open because you've hardly got enough, but you've got enough that you don't want to waste them. So obviously,
but we definitely saw a huge number of people come. I think people were just so glad to get out. But it's been good, isn't it?
Yeah,
It has been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've opened up. We actually took a window out in the shop, and we took out a window and put a hatch, so people paid for their Pick Your Own by actually staying outside, and we used this hatch just so we didn't get too much congestion in the shop, really. And that's worked all right, actually.
Yeah.
I thought we were mad to start with popping a window out, but actually it did.
I think we might possibly grow the pick your own next year to maybe putting in some other barrows and doing it, prolonging the season really, or maybe planting some 60-day strawberries to sort of prolong it. So then we've got pick your own throughout the summer holidays, because I think it's, again, really good for footfall. And, you know, your main crop strawberries are always finished middle of July when the children have only just broken up from school. So I think if we could go from middle of July to end of August, I think, you know, it'd be good to drive everything else on with a few animals around, maybe possibly a bit of an attraction, possibly from just anything to get people into the shop really and into the restaurant. You know, more people on the site really.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Well, thank you so much to Adam and Laura for being so open and sharing your story with us this evening. It's really appreciated. And thank you to Michael for being on the call and for joining us as well. I'll drop an email around everyone tomorrow with Michael's contact details in case anybody wants to have a chat about how he can help your business potentially. We've got some great sessions coming up. So Judy on the call with us this evening is going to be running a merchandising course for free for us next Tuesday evening. So talking about how to best lay out your store for profit and lots of other creative ideas. So I'll share details of that as well. And it's the last chance to book tomorrow for our Christmas workshop, which is next Thursday afternoon. So we've got a few farm shops booked on for that, but that'll be a great opportunity to kind of focus your mind for an afternoon on Christmas and ignore coronavirus for 3 hours. So, but thank you so much, guys, and we'll see you again soon.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you very much.